what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to take a look at the most underrated and overrated brawlers we've ranked in season 29. So you would have seen my tier list yesterday. I thought it was a good idea. You know, it's a Sunday, a little bit of a chill video. I like to do these types of videos, but the thing is, there's a lot of overrated, underrated brawlers that I've seen in the comment section. So, of course, the first one is going to be Max, and she's going to be really underrated. So, the reason why I think Max is underrated is because I was playing on Composure's stream yesterday, just playing Max, trying to get some gameplay. And I realized Max is actually really good. Of course, it matters on whether you're good at juking, good at positioning, but I don't know, Max hasn't really fallen off in the meta. And I was like, why did I put Max in the 80? I still think she's such a good pick, especially with the hypercharge. It's just all about knowing your matchups, trying to get the right aggression. And you can just see here, like, Max isn't even the greatest at knockout, but just my aggression alone is able to put Piper into spawn, as well as Mr. P switching lanes. That's going to be the first kill. Beautiful. Jean's going to maybe get a kill on this Barley. We should be able to get a kill here. Come on. There we go. And that's going to be the round going to us surely. Only Mr. P left. I'm just going to heal up and finish off the kill. Beautiful. And I have a max speed. It's just all about knowing how to use your max speeds effectively, being aggressive with the gadget and trying to get as much value as possible. So I was hoping Jean just came into mid with me so we could just rush these guys really quick. So Jean, come on, come close. Go, 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 go. So Mr. P, okay, I realized I went with my super here, but again, we've got to get so much positioning. Just a super alone is enough to push these guys all the way back in spawn. So I'm going to use my super gadget defensively there. Just a little bit unfortunate. I normally want to use it aggressively, but again, just kind of waiting for any of these guys to overextend, and we should be able to punish them with any good aim. Problem is Mr. P Porter is going to be annoying. But again, we've got one gadget left. I want to try not burn it just yet. But again, this could be a good opportunity on the Piper. Actually, yeah, we're going to go down. Oh, good. 2 versus 3. Yeah, I don't know. I went a bit too aggressive there, but then again, well, I think once the gas started to close in, I would have had no chance against a Barley and a Mr. P who can shoot over walls. But going into the final round, we should be able to be pretty good. So yeah, Max is still pretty good in Gem Grab. Of course, really good in Brawl, and just a great counter to so many different compositions. So we're going to use max speed here. We're going to use on the Barley to be really aggressive and get him back into spawn. All of these guys are going to be switching sides. I'm not too sure why, because we're in such a good position. Piper's going to use gadget, but I don't think it's really going to do too much. We've got a ticket coming down here. We're about to get our super. There we go. Just look at this aggression. We'll just force them all the way back into spawn, and we should be able to win this one easily. One max super here. We're just going to run into the Mr. P. Just a Piper left, and that's going to be the win. Literally through my supers and aggression, we could win that round so easily. I just don't know why people aren't really going too much max at the moment. Really weird. But anyways, that's going to be the first brawler that is insanely underrated. Let's hop into the next one. So jumping into the next underrated brawler on my list, and it always seems like 8-Bit is in this conversation, but it is 8-Bit. Trust me, 8-Bit is insanely underrated. I guess the reason why people don't play him too often, because he can be seen as a boring brawler because he's got super slow speed, and I don't know, it's a very passive playstyle in a sense, like it's all about building up your turret, putting it in the back, and then kind of just camping around there. He is a popular choice in ladder, especially on knockout and bounty, but I don't really see him too much in ranked. Like, he's a really good gem carrier. He's of course really good in situations like this. If you pair 8-Bit on knockout or bounty with a single sniper and a thrower especially, it's such a good synergy, because you just need a lead or you just need some high damage, and his boosted booster will just absolutely carry you. So I'm going to put the turret back here. It's going to be very hard for the opponents to push into this, because we just deal some insane damage. We lock onto them once and they are pretty much finished. I'm also using the health gear as well with 8-Bit, just for more sustained pressure. Another underrated gear on him. Byron should be going down here. Nice. Good play from my nanny. Again, we've got the gas closing in. Beautiful. And I've got the 8-Bit turret. So normally on this map, you want to just put the 8-Bit turret here, and then nanny can use it with... careful. Okay, that was nearly down astronomical. I'm hoping nanny realizes there's a Brock right there. Okay, he goes down, and this is the worst case scenario right here, because now I'm nowhere near my turret. I'm going to have to just try and go aggro for my turret here, because there's no way we're going to even win this. Okay, I'm fluffing every single shot. All right, this was not how things were planned. Not how things were planned. I think nanny just took so long to even use the head but it didn't really work out. Hopefully Leon can get some supercharge, and here it is. This is the final round. So I haven't even spoken about 8-bit. So 8-bit, of course, is really good in like heist, where he's not really been used again too often, but you can never go wrong with 8-bit. I think the only brawler you need to consider banning is like Colette, and then if there's no Colette in the lobby, you're gonna have a field day with 8-bit still against pretty much everything. Good kill from our Leon right here, and this should be the closing bit. I mean, Leon just absolutely destroyed him 1 versus 3. I didn't even get to show 8-bit's full potential, but this is extreme scenarios using 8-bit in this situation. But typically, you know, gem grab, any long range map, bounty, and he is a very good brawler in the meta still. So that's going to be the second underrated. Let's hop into the final one. Okay, so jumping into the final underrated brawler on the list, I went with Larry and Lori. So I know that throwers are so dominant. I've spoken about it enough times. I was going to put Willow on the list as well, but she's always kind of considered underrated, especially on maps where Barley and Berry are pretty good. You can always go Willow, but Larry are just, the twins are just so underappreciated, mainly because well, I don't love their main attack, but that's the reason why they're on the underrated list. Their main attack is so toxic. I don't think the super is as effective anymore. I just literally think it's the main attack. The fact that you can still spam auto-aim so effectively with them is crazy. Also, the second explosion offers just so much control. It has such a big radius, and people just don't understand that. And even in a situation like this, I would go with twins. They're just so good at countering so many of the meta brawlers right now. Again, you normally go with twins on like knockout, bounty, but you can easily go them on Brawl. I'm seeing the pros literally just abuse them. They play them everywhere because there's hardly any like absolute counters out there, because as long as you're kind of holding your ammo quite consistently, it's always hard to approach them because they have got quite a fair bit of damage. Use gadget here and just spam auto-aim onto Jesse, and we should be able to get that. Okay, no, pretty close. I was about to use another gadget there, but again, gadget's good, damage good. Range is really good. People always underrate the range aspect of them as well. And I feel like with Larry and Lori, I can always compete with even like really good knockout throwers. So like Sprout, Grom, and Tick, for example. You know, you'd think that that would be kind of easy for them. But no, Larry can easily compete just literally because of the main attack. Like, you might not be able to push into him effectively, but at the same time, they can't push into you because this main attack is so good at zoning. So unfortunately, we're in a bad situation here. This max hypercharge and a Jester turret isn't going to be working into our favor, and there's a spike gadget on our safe, which isn't going to be that great. But we have got some time to come back here. 40 seconds left. Again, like twins and heist, I wouldn't really go it out except for hot potato, but it's one of the few instances I've actually been able to go them. Right. Nice kill from the Piper. So we're down to Colt to try and get this return damage here. Spike's going to get taken down easily. How are we losing against a Spike that just runs and does that? Right, let's try and get to auto-aim distance here. Max is going to go down. Still got 15 seconds left. Let's try and hold as much control as possible. So we're down to these last few seconds. We've got a Larry super here. We've got to use gadgets. Try and get onto the safe. Come on, please. 8%. 3%. Come on, Piper. Love to see it. I didn't even see the Piper in the right top corner until the very end there. So yeah, I think the twins are insanely underrated because I think they're easily S tier. And people just kind of forgot about them. Like, I know they've been broken for a long time, but I've never seen them in the conversation for a top 10 brawler. But for me, I think they are. They're just really hard to counter and just good at everything. So yeah, those are going to be the underrated. Let's hop into the overrated. Okay, so jumping into the first overrated brawler on the list, I went with Sandy. So I know this is a common theme whenever brawlers receive any type of nerf, and Sandy received a big nerf to the hypercharge rate, which of course affected Sandy. But I just think the map pool and the meta is definitely a big influence as well. So unfortunately, I've got a bad matchup against Edgar here. So yeah, Sandy's not going to look the greatest here. But I think in the competitive pool, especially the rank pool, there's only really one good Sandy map, and that is Double Swoosh. I explained it on my ranked tier list. But again, a couple of people are kind of wondering like why I ranked Sandy so low. It's because Sandy can never really farm super as well as he used to be. Like, the meta was just so suited to Sandy. There's hardly any like good lane brawlers in the meta. You know, the other lane brawlers in the previous meta were like Nita. It was kind of like Sandy versus Nita meta, where both of the hyperchargers were really good. So it just takes Sandy too long to cycle through to hypercharge. Of course, if you can get some good cycling, you're going to do a really good job. But for the most part, I think good players should be able to keep Sandy away and stop him from even getting any supers. So let's use a stun on the Colt here. I'm probably going to die to the Edgar, but I think my teammates... Oh, that was really risky from Surge. I was saying we should just wait for the gem in the middle and we'll win that game. But there we go. There we go, right. I'm close to hypercharge though. Ego's going to jump in, but nothing that he can do against the Piper. Finally got my hypercharge. You know, I got it quite quickly. In comparison to last game, I actually really struggled. Even though I'm facing off against a Colt and a Jesse on this map, I've really struggled with Sandy. Again, by no means is Sandy a terrible brawler, but definitely overrated by what I've been seeing in the comments section. And you can even see here, like, I just had a terrible game. I found it really hard to even get close to people and get super, but for the most part, Sandy's okay. But this meta just doesn't really suit him. So that's going to be first overrated. Let's hop into the next one. Okay, so jumping into the second overrated brawler on the list, we have Grom. So we'll actually say for this use case, he actually is really underrated. I hate to say it, but it's probably the only map where I think, oh, maybe Grom is okay. But only because I've got 2 tank counters, it allowed me to go Grom. Anyways, Grom has fallen off a lot. If you take a look in the meta, there's literally in the ranked tier list that I did. If you've not seen already, check it out. But it's a very thrower-dominated map pool. And you've got the likes of Berry, Barley, Tick, Larry and Laurie, etc. that are just way better than Grom. And for me, Grom's only good as literally a 6th pick into maybe like loads of different snipers. That's about it. But even now, like, I don't think the meta as sniper heavy as it was previously. Literally every other meta has been a lot more sniper heavy than this one. So I just think it's kind of lost his place. And also, you got to think of all the hype charges that come in. Every single hype charge that come in effectively counters Grom even harder, because his projectile speed is just so slow that it's so easy to juke consistently as a half decent player with a brain cell. So yeah, that is that about him. You can just see as the game gets messier, it gets even harder for Grom. But if you think of other throwers, it's just even easier to hit shots. Even Sprout is easy to hit shots with than Grom. I don't know, some guys will be like, oh, it's just skill diff for whatever reason. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of skill to Grom because of how hard his projectile is to hit, but for the most part, I just think it's not his meta. It's okay to admit that he's just not that great right now, considering how strong he used to be as a thrower. So let's try and take down his Chester. Nice. I mean, you can see here, I've still got some techers with the Grom. You know, I'm landing a lot of these shots, doing pretty decently so far. But again, oh, nice goal from the Gale. Again, I'd rather just go something else. Like, if I was actually being serious, I probably would have just gone Larry and Laurie like this guy, but he had 6th pick and picked it. Again, I'd rather go like a Barley in Knockout and Bounty. I'd rather go Tick, Sprout, or just something aggressive rather than Grom. It's just too risky in this meta, way too risky, but I'm destroying these guys. Maybe Grom's underrated. I just got a really good matchup. I think Center Stage actually is an underrated map for him. I'm supposed to be having some Grom slander here, right? 20 seconds left. I don't think these guys can do anything because I've just been giving them everything. Like, look at this! They just can't handle the Grom bomb. Perfect. Right, there we go. So that's going to be another overrated brawler. I just think by the comment section, people are thinking that Grom is good. Yeah, I think that's just me. That's just me. All right. I'm just better than everyone else. Let's jump into the next one. All right, guys, jumping into the final overrated brawler on the list. I went with Clancy, but only in ranked. I know in ladder, he's a big problem and probably the best brawler in the game in terms of ladder. But ranked, there are ways to counter him. But at the same time, I don't know, a bit reluctant because your randoms don't typically have brain cells and they'll end up feeding Clancy. But trust me, the map pool really doesn't favor him, and there definitely are ways to counter him. It's all about making sure he doesn't get into position, you know, doesn't have the biggest of range. So just letting him waste his gadgets and just keeping him below the second, well, just below the 3rd level, and you're normally good to go. So I mean, these guys literally gave me the perfect example of how not to face off against Clancy. But I literally just had a face off against Clancy the game before this, and he literally did nothing when he was on my lane. Again, I was just being patient, making sure not to build up his levels, and he was stuck on level 1 the whole game, and we won. So just going to show that there are ways to counter him. And especially in ranked, it is harder because you're not going to always face off against tanks. I think on ladder, you face off against randoms a lot. They just like to go all of these stupid, aggressive brawlers. I don't know, like Frank, Meg. Well, they're not stupid, they're good. But even the meta brawlers are tanks, you know what I mean? And Clancy will just destroy everything once he gets to that level. And randoms don't understand that concept. Like, this Meg has just been running into us all game. I think she's now a bot because we just literally destroyed her in the first round. And yeah, she just doesn't have a chance. So again, I'm not saying that Clancy's bad brawler whatsoever. He is very broken. His super is entirely broken. But at the same time, there's definitely ways to counter him. And people don't really understand that in my comment section. Even though I did like a Clancy guide, I don't think people still understand like the best ways to play against him. But again, Hello plays. I don't know, this is a decent map. He's a good late pick. I literally picked him last because we're up against Meg and I knew I'll be able to get a lot of levels from Meg, but yeah, let's see if we can get this Willow down. Nice. I mean, we should be good to go. I'm hoping my teammate has got the nita. There we go. We're up against a bot Meg. Like, what is this? But actually, this is one of the rare games I got to use Clancy because normally he's banned. And I understand why people ban Clancy because if he gets the last level, he's unstoppable. Like, there's just no ways around it. Again, calling a brawler overrated isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just think in ranked because you can counter him. You know? Brawlers can be countered. I just died to a bot. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. There's pretty much no point even showing the rest of it really because we're going to win. I mean, we could just run up the map and end the game here. So yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoy this one. I mean, let me know whether you have any overrated brawlers in the comment section. There are going to be some like annoying ones. Like at the beginning of the season, I kept having Dynamite and Colt on my team. Sometimes I have to ban that pretty much all the time in ranked. But for the most part, I mean, Clancy, he is good. But I can counter him. So if I can, surely some of you guys can learn how to counter him, especially in a very thrower-heavy map pool and meta. You can keep your distance and not feeding those levels. So that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.